Hello, everyone. My name is William Smith. I am the author of Oil Rich, a brief history of Guyana and why the U.S. and China have interests. So I will be doing weekly podcasts about my book. I will also be talking about a little bit of dynamics that's going on with Guyana and this oil discovery. So Oil Rich, a brief history of Guyana and why the U.S. and China have interest in it, is basically just a book that highlights Guyana. It talks about the colonial ages. It talks about the Afro-Guyanese and the Indo-Guyanese and how they actually migrated to Guyana. There's a lot of historical references in this book. This book will also serve as a map for individuals who do not know Guyana. And when I say a map, it's going to be a historical map, breaking down the regions of Guyana, breaking down the political structure, breaking down the educational structure, breaking down the libraries. You're going to learn about the investments that the Chinese have in Guyana. So you're going to be able to really look at this country and really know the heartbeat of what's going on throughout this country from the historical to modern day. As we talk about the oil discovery, which is really the emphasis of this book, and it really highlights most of the details. And the reason why that's significant, if you look at where Guyana is regional and where it's set up in proximity to the U.S., it's a 3.5-hour flight to Miami. It's one of the only English-speaking countries in South America. So when you look at the infrastructure and how Guyana is poised to be a global power, it just makes sense, especially with this oil discovery and Guyana being the fastest growing GDP in the world right now. And so all of these factors are critical for the growth in this country. But there are some things that we have to consider. With all of this going on, there are some potential threats to the growth of Guyana. And some of the potential threats are the divide, the racial divide. And when I talk about racial divide, I'm looking at the Indo-Guyanese, and Afro-Guyanese. When we look at the political parties and the affiliations, because if you look at the history of it, you will see that the PPP party, which is the political party, one of the political parties in Guyana, is racially divided, which is majority Indo-Guyanese. And then when you look at the PNC party, which is racially divided, majority of the people that serve in that party are Afro-Guyanese. And there has been some talks when I go down and visit about people talking that they see a division taking place. And if we're looking at the future and preparing for the future of Guyana, we really have to figure out how we can break down these barriers and make it a one Guyana, because the future of Guyana really relies on the government to be able to remove those barriers and ensure that there's equity amongst both groups. So just some things that we'll be talking about different weeks. You can find this book, Oil Rich, on Amazon or barnesandnoble.com. So I hope you take the time to learn about Guyana and understand that Guyana is oil rich.